Thank you for tuning into this episode of Back to the City. I'm Simon Calder, and today I'm joined by Noel Tate. Thank you, Noel, for joining me.
Thank you for having me over.
You're very welcome. We're going to go on a journey through Levitate the Pentagon, which is the new record from Levitate.
I like the way you said pentagon.
I'm not sure I did, but given that you liked it, then we'll keep that. Boom, boom, it started is a lyric near the beginning of Read It Like a Book, which is the opening track. And I really like how this record starts. I was not expecting it to start with the electronic drum beat that there is at the beginning.
Yeah, I was for it. The band was a bit trepidatious about it.
I'm glad that you won.
Yeah, as soon as all the lyrics were down, I immediately had sort of a loose narrative of how I wanted everything to go. Since the track is called Read It Like a Book, and the album is based a lot on books, I thought it would be a decent way to start it.
Okay.
Like, read this album like a book. Well, it's all loosely based on a lot of comic book stuff that I like. And so I thought it would be sort of fun to create a narrative or pseudo-concept album based on some of these stories.
Yes.
And to lay it out a bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't strictly stay to just like Watchmen or anything. It kind of nabs and weaves between different like comic book stories, as well as how it sort of ties into real life. Or sometimes an alternative narrative to what life has been. That's what the second track is called, Point of Divergence, which is what they say in alternative histories. That's what they call it. You find a point in history and you change something there, and then you have a parallel line or a parallel universe to another line. And that's the way Watchmen starts. It's just a point where
it does. Yeah, that's right.
There's a point where something happens, and then all of a sudden, the parallel history takes a much different direction than the one we're living in.
Yes.
And the idea was that for the elections in 2016, I felt like we were living all of a sudden in sort of a comic book parallel future.
Absolutely. Like,
And so I thought it was like immediately the first thing I thought of was the day after the election was I need to read Watchmen again. Because this feels like Days of Future Past from the X-Men comics.
Absolutely. I would like to go back to the Point of Divergence. That would be good.
That would probably be when Comey gave the speech about reopening Clinton's email investigation. I think that's the point of difference, at least according to Nate Silver and some of those other election quote-unquote experts.
Yeah. Okay, so why is Point of Divergence track 2?
Because it opens, it's like, hey, this is the introduction to the album, and it's sort of, the first song sort of explains the concept a bit.
Invites us to read it like a book.
Yeah, and so that's the beginning of the story, is here's the point of divergence.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And now from then on, we're living in an alternate timeline.
Which is
narrative.
The alternate narrative, though, is ours, or you invite us to experience.
We don't need to be so specific.
Okay, yeah, we're exploring different possible narratives with a sense that this is one.
Yeah, exactly. I can never hold a concept that tight together.
That's good. To some extent, it's a concept record. Is it definitely a concept record?
Sure.
Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah. So
someone called it the first post-punk concept record, and I can't believe that's correct. I'm sure there's another one.
Can you think of any?
No, but there's.
But there must be.
No, all music. Yeah.
So the title track is Levitate the Pentagon. At what point during writing that song did that song?
I actually didn't write this song.
Oh, okay.
It's all based on a speech that Abby Hoffman gave at the 68 Vietnam protests. The Yippies had gathered, along with many other groups. There's thousands and thousands of people there in Washington on that day. And the Yippies said that they were going to circle the Pentagon and all hold hands and use their psychic abilities to levitate the Pentagon. And the Yippies were known for just doing pranks along with jokes, so it was a bit of a prank.
Sure.
And but they all got arrested when they tried to levitate. But he got up and gave one of the hilarious speeches he always does. That's why there's lines about women running naked and pissing on the walls.
Piss on the walls. Yeah.
So it's
we will dance and sing.
Yeah, I've abbreviated some of it and kind of cut down from the full. But I suggest people look up the full speech about him. It's really funny.
Every line from the song is from
it's
the
a
speech.
direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's dead, so I don't think he can come after me for it.
No.
But it has to do with the whole narrative. I mean, it has to do with something. A big point of divergence in The Watchmen is the Vietnam War.
That's right.
The character, Dr. Osterman, or Dr. Manhattan,
yes,
once the U.S. realizes they have a God on their side, they say, "Will you go end this war?" And he ends it within hours, I think. And he just goes and okay, it's over, and all the villagers start to worship. They will only surrender to him and start to worship him.
Which he doesn't particularly enjoy, if I remember correctly.
I think he doesn't care. He doesn't seem to have any opinion about humans one way or the other. Yeah. They're slightly annoying.
Sure, exactly, yeah. I can remember he's a very lonely character.
He would be lonely being God.
Being the stuck here with all these
blue
humans.
God with your blue penis wagging around.
Yes, exactly. I remember that about him too. Something else I know about Dr. Jonathan Osterman is that he gets his own song on the record. Yeah. He's this character, isn't he, in Watchmen? So this is of all. Yeah, there we go. He's right there. Of all these visual aids, Watchmen is the one that seems.
It's where the idea started.
Oh, that's okay for the whole record.
Yeah, sort of the first couple songs actually have more to do with this as a concept.
Yeah.
Dr. Osterman, that song talks particularly about reality and questioning what it exactly is. So it has to do with the point of divergence. I mean, it has in the real world. In my thinking, it was the way the world's going right now. But sometimes this doesn't feel real.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, and is there anything we can do to change the reality we are in? Besides 3-word slogans and things like that.
Right, exactly. So there's concern about these slogans, like at the end of.
There is in our last record. I mean, that's what
there is. Yeah.
The whole record was about.
Yeah.
Meaningless chance was the name of it.
Absolutely.
3-word sloganeering that doesn't get any.
And that comes up again in Detective Story, where there's a tongue lapping lashes for something more than a few turns of phrase. And then that is right before Dr. Jonathan Osterman, where there's lots of questions, philosophical questions to do with the nature of reality. What if nothing is real? I prefer what is truth to the toothless as well, the way that's kind of playing with words, toothless instead of truthless. What is the voice that we encounter at the end of the song Dr. Jonathan Osterman? Because that then, there's this British voice that
that's Alan Watts.
That's Alan Watts. Okay, yeah.
Sort of jokester and philosopher.
Yes, reflecting
on reality.
On reality, yeah. I'm not saying that thinking is bad, like everything else it has. It's
useful in moderation.
Useful in moderation, yeah. And all so-called civilized people have increasingly become crazy and self-destructive because, through obsessive thinking, we have lost touch with reality. It's one of the things that Alan Watts is saying.
Yeah, and it sounds like Dr. Manhattan could have said that.
Right, yeah.
I've listened to a lot of his. Someone told me about Alan Watts a few years ago.
Sure.
And I was like, who is this person? And there's people. He had I believe a radio show in the Bay Area. Is that what it was?
I think so.
He was a touring lecturer and things and stuff like that. But there's a ton of his speeches online.
Yeah.
And they're really great to fall asleep to.
Yeah. or wake up to one's reality.
Yeah. He's very funny but he's smart about it. It's sort of sarcastic. And it's the way that speech is delivered, like I chopped it up and
absolutely, yeah,
and sort of did some negative land type manipulation of the audio on it. But
what is negative land type manipulation?
Have you heard Negative Land before? Speaking of the Bay Area, they were a Bay Area. Couldn't really say they were a band, but they did sometimes make music. Sort of, and it came out of the '80s with sort of a media manipulation, sound collage group. They had a thing called, they released a record called Escape from Noise, and on that record they had a song called Christianity is Stupid. And it had a great sort of industrial 80s sounding beat, and loud guitar, like Ministry sort of, but even dumber and simpler. And there was a sample of a speech some preacher gave or something, talking about his experience in Soviet Russia, perhaps. He was saying the loudspeaker spoke up and said, "Christianity is stupid. Christianity is stupid." Just over and over again. The song is Christian. It's a funny song.
Nice.
And in Minnesota, actually, in the '80s, a kid had to kill his parents, I believe, with an axe. And Negative Land were just about to go on tour, and they saw the news of this, and this was at the time in the '80s in America. There was, sort of the devil's scare and heavy metals, corrupt our children, and so they released a press release in that their song "Christianity is Stupid" made this kid kill his parents.
Oh, right.
And they kicked back and then recorded all the media about it and released their next record called "Helter Stupid." about the whole...
Using that collage.
Using the collage of all the media they got. It's rock and roll killing our children, negative land. It's really funny. It's like partly music and partly just sound collage, and they did a bunch of other things like that.
Right.
Yeah. They released a record called U2.
U2, like the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and U2 was like, oh, I don't care. But the record cover was a small U2 airplane and the letter U, numeral 2 really big, and then negative land very small at the bottom. It was on purpose to be provocative.
So it looks like it's a U2 record.
Right, and U2 didn't care, but they're, of course, the record
label.
So then they...
Why would that be?
Yeah, then they released another record called The Letter U, the numeral 2 after that, about that whole...
Oh, wow.
They're really funny.
I like this project. Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool to listen to. I suggest getting some of the record.
So the collage, the sound collage that they do, I like that technique just in and of itself.
Yeah, it's sprinkled throughout the whole record.
Yeah. No,
sound collage that I did.
I think it's obviously most prominent at the end of the Dr. Jonathan Osterman song.
Yeah,
but
I mean, because it just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. The song is big.
The song is over.
Yeah, the song's over. Yeah.
It's funny that we released that as the first single, and there's like another minute of just it's never gonna get played on the radio. That was sort of on
radio.
That was sort of on purpose. We don't get played on the radio anyway.
So I think it's particularly interesting that some of what Alan Watts is talking about relates to words. Actually, it concludes that's why we confuse signs, words, numbers, symbols, and ideas with the real world.
Yeah.
This is a disaster, Alan Watts says. So, to what extent do you think there is a serious statement being made there regarding how disastrous it is that we have this particular relationship?
Well, obviously, it can be very.
Yes.
I mean, just the fact that we can communicate with each other is completely disastrous because it's.
Is disastrous.
Half the you can misconstrue what somebody say all the time.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Symbols, meanings, Christianity. It has been disastrous for the world because of
symbols,
corruption and symbols and all the things. I mean, anything that has that can be disastrous.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
I think that's pretty straightforward. But it's also funny because it's like that's the only way we have to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and then you take this thing and where it's making a statement about things just being words, and you're making it even more just words in the sound collage by kind of mixing things around and repeating just words. Is this record saying something different about language to meaningless chants? And if so, what's this record saying about language?
Probably similar things.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But it's all sort of meaningless. Like it doesn't. I don't mean to sound so dour, but it is. It's rather nihilistic. I mean, I've been in a nihilistic mood for the past couple of years, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because of the impetus for making.
Yeah. The content.
Yeah. The Virgin timeline. I think we're on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the song is asking, what if nothing is real? But the Alan Watts statement is talking about how we've lost touch with reality. So the Alan Watts statement suggests...
But it also says, what is reality?
It says, what is reality? And then at one moment it says, this is reality. Reality is this. And then there's just...
It's like a bell.
A bell.
Which is really funny. And I don't know if that meant... that's like a Buddhist thing or something?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He could have been a Buddhist.
Because then I don't know whether this is the sound collage or this is how it continues. Then he elaborates, that is to say, and then he makes a statement about how we've confused these word signs with
the real world.
With the real world.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. So there does seem to be, for Alan Watts at least, there is this thing, we can't really talk about it, but there is something that's real.
Yeah. In his hypothesis, he says something is real and that human nature is distorting, if not destroying, what reality is. It's something to think about, but I don't know.
How much do you agree on whether the record
I particularly like communication. I mean, that's why I make music.
Absolutely.
I guess I like the idea of when he talks about whittling, that it's just how communication doesn't necessarily need to be so straightforward. And that's why I like communicating through music and like poetry, is because I don't have to be straightforward. They're still words, but they can sort of mean whatever you want them to mean.
Yeah.
They can mean whatever you could conceive of them in your reality.
Yeah.
And to me, they can mean something completely different. I like it but when it means something to other people and it means nothing to me, the best.
Right, where it does mean
Just
something
shit to
beyond
me,
authorial intention, that doesn't matter.
It's like, what do you read into it? I mean, that's the reason to share it. Otherwise, I would just sit at home and make music on my own and never share it.
Yeah.
But it's more fun just to see what other people think of it.
Or if it were just about communicating like a message, maybe you'd have a podcast or something, but you're making music instead. So like playing with...
But even then, I actually tried doing a podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And the idea wasn't even to get a message. It was to find out what other people thought about.
Yeah, last time we saw each other, you were at work on that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neither did the interview though. But this one will. Let's talk about some of these books. There's a point of divergence in Watchmen. There is the Captain Manhattan character. What other components of Watchmen provide the initial impetus? Or have we basically covered Watchmen?
Probably a lot. Yeah, I mean, the idea that there's the doomsday clock is a big part of it, and it keeps ticking closer to midnight as it goes on.
Yeah.
Because the book takes place in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's 85 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And Nixon is still president because of the point of divergence.
Oh, sure.
You know, they changed the Constitution, and so he can still be president, and nobody really likes it. Everybody's just miserable.
Yeah.
They're on the verge of nuclear war with the Russians, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And and one of the characters who's originally one of the heroes turns out to be the villain. Mm-hmm. Spoilers. And decides to come up with a plan to kill a lot of people in order to unite the world.
Sure.
Which is pretty basic sci-fi sort of concept. You've seen a lot in.
It's very
lesson. You know, it's which one was that?
The Infinity Stone. Is that
Infinity War?
Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, it's based on comic books, so yeah. But it's more that kind of. I'm sure this happened on Star Trek a lot too. Any kind of there's a mustache twirling sort of villain whose ideas you understand.
Right, and there's some benevolence. Like they think it's benevolence. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who's to say? Right. Who's to say he's the real? And that's the great thing in the book is a lot of the characters are conflicted when it comes to the book. They're like, oh, he's got a point. Oh, but he's going to kill a lot of people. It's like, well, a lot of people are going to get killed anyway. Maybe less people will die. I mean, that's always the argument for the use of violence, probably, in real life as well, in literature as well.
So it's interesting how, in those narratives, it's not just black and white. It's not there's not like this Manichaean, good versus evil. There's some complexity and
that's what's really interesting about Moore's work in Watchmen is because there is a lot of that. There's a character called Rorschach in the book, which is based on a Steve Ditko character called The Question, or Mr. A was another one, and he believed in objectivism and Randian bullshit philosophy about everything is black or white, good or evil.
Sure.
And his character in Watchmen acts that way, right? It's just like it's all good or bad, nothing. And when he comes to that at the end, when he has to deal with that gray area at the end, he's just like, just kill me.
Right. can't cope with this.
Yeah, this has gone against everything that I believed. And that's sort of, and I know Alan loved Steve Ditko, and Steve Ditko created Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, but then later went on to go down more that objectivist sort of hole, and he kind of landed in some really weird places.
So Rorschach is kind of a critique of that character and attitude?
It was, which is funny because a lot of people see him as sort of weirdly like a hero in the, maybe it's just Ayn Randian type people who think that way. But it's like you read it, it's like, this guy's not a hero.
There's something deeply troubling about this righteousness.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, that's when literature is best, is when it can gray those areas.
If it can make it kind of moral, because it's making it, we're led to a kind of moral judgment, but a more sophisticated one, a more complex, nuanced one about that character. So it leads us to a moral
something
judgment.
that's really left out of the political discussion today.
Right.
It's very hard line one way or the other.
Yeah.
And they've forgotten all the sort of the gray in the middle.
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of people have. I'm sure there's a lot of ignorant people who just whatever, but it's hard not to want to gravitate one way or the other. spectrum.
And I think being able to have a more nuanced moral judgment about those moralizing tendencies is something that it would be good to have.
Yes.
What about some of these other books? What has the impact of any of these other books been?
Well, they're just some little ideas in some of them. The detective story is actually, that song is a little bit about, kind of based on the Batman.
So why is it called Detective Story?
They call him, one of Batman's many nicknames is the world's greatest detective.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which he never really turns out to be in the comics. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. What attributes does he share with a detective?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's supposed to, analyzing things and figuring it all out, but he doesn't always do it. So that's where the lyrics are kind of making fun of that a little bit. But that's why it's called Detective Story. It's sort of making fun of all of that sort of overanalyzation of whatever situation that you're in.
There are no clues, I lie to you, is right before a detective's burden they'll never find. So what's happening with the ideas of detection and like searching for clues at that moment?
It's part of the detective story.
Right. There are no clues.
But that's like the twist,
yeah.
You know, it's like the detective thinks he's found whatever it is he's looking for, and he goes and he confront like the antagonist, and the antagonist goes, "No, it's a lie."
Right.
That's what's fun, and sometimes in Batman comics with his main villain being Joker,
sure,
who's an unreliable narrator in his own story. There's a great Batman story that also Alan Moore wrote.
Yeah.
That was sort of a Batman or a Joker sort of origin tale.
Okay.
He's kind of telling it, and it tells what, but you can't. He keeps kind of changing it, and you can never. They used elements of that in that Nolan movie with Joker in it.
Yes.
About how you could remember in the movie he keeps saying, "Did I tell you how?" You know. And
yes.
It changes each time.
Yes, I do recall that. Yeah. Interesting.
The Joker's a great character because he's like the ultimate nihilist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like nothing matters. And the comedian in Watchmen has a lot of those. I think he even has a line that he says like nothing matters.
Okay.
The part when he goes to his greatest enemy's bed, and his enemy's died of cancer, and he's just sitting there on the bed crying and like confessing all this crap that he's done.
Yes.
And he's like, what does it fucking matter? It's all a joke.
Right.
Turns up dead.
That's what the comedian
says in Watchmen.
And you were saying that the opening songs, so it's almost as if...
I mean, there's a song called Kill the Comedian,
exactly.
which has some lines directly from
the Watchmen. It seems that by the time we get to track 5, if we have been kind of like following, recognize, this is a concept record, and we've been thinking, Kill the Comedian, that's from Watchmen, there's a point of divergence in Watchmen, and we're trying to kind of piece it together. Is it almost as if by the time we get to Detective Story, it's like, I was lying to you, there's no clues, like, it's kind of moved purposefully, becoming slightly less of a kind of tight
concept. It's never too early to make fun of yourself or your audience. I think that's the idea. Because we jump back, there's another song called Gunning for Masks, which is also a direct line from Rorschach in Watchmen.
Oh, okay,
after the comedian is killed, and he's talking to the other former heroes, and he's like, somebody's gunning for masks, you know.
What does gunning for masks mean in that context?
That's a very like sort of old Nuarian sort of thing to say, like, they're gunning for you, you know. 30s Americana sort of weird, you know.
Right.
And the masks are the heroes, and the people who wear masks.
Yeah. Okay. So initially they're gunning for masks.
The book is it's supposed to be sort of people forget that it's really just kind of a deconstruction of itself and its own genre. And that was sort of the idea behind some of the things with Detective Story too. It's just like, okay, we've gotten so far in this story, but remember that it doesn't matter. It's just a joke. Anyway, continue, you know.
Yeah, Gunning for Masks. Did you know masks are temporary as this scene is to me?
Yeah.
I find that really interesting because it's highlighting like the identity that we take on when we wear a certain mask is fleeting.
It's one of the more obvious metaphors on the record, I think, and to have a record about sort of superhero-y kind of comic book stuff, or anybody, or whatever, anybody. There's always this great his name? Joseph Campbell talked a lot
Oh,
about
yes.
masks and mythology.
Yeah, yeah.
And the changing of identities and all that stuff.
What I find particularly interesting about your lyric there is that that first part draws attention to the how temporary an identity that we take on when we wear a particular mask is, but then it's immediately followed by as this scene is to me. So then also like the scene, the context within which calls for a particular mask, is also temporary. What's coming from masks, or the record kind of saying about identity and maybe the performance of identity and there being only certain scenes or contexts within which certain identities can be performed.
I think you just explained it.
Okay, my question. Yeah, it's raising those questions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not answering those questions. Yeah.
I
But
don't
it-
have answers, that's for sure.
But those are the questions that it's raising.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then just like, I mean, it goes into sort of a bit of a, the idea of the concept in the first place. And it's a big thing with, like masked Avengers, people wearing masks and hiding their identity and why, and then you could go nuts from there. 'Cause just, like you said, thinking about what is even an identity, if you can change it, it's all temporary.
Yes.
You can change your name, you change your face, change your whatever,
Absolutely.
change your attitude,
Yeah.
change your gender identity, anything.
Mhm.
It can be, it's all temporary.
But at the same
And be
time,
manipulated.
yeah, at the same time, it's all.
Bullshit, just like the last song says.
But we take it very seriously. To some extent, just as humans, we need to, you
We
get a
have
sense.
to take an identity.
Yeah, we get a sense of what it means to be Noel or Simon or whatever, and like we're obviously being ourselves. Like, it's pretty invested in that.
They invest their own identity because it's the only thing. It's one of the only grasps we have on reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Is our own identity.
Yeah.
It's fluid. I mean, that's the great thing about this. Some of it has to do with that song. Has to do with this book here. This character, Moon Knight, who's kind of an unknown Marvel character, and he's got identity disorder.
Oh,
They used to
interesting.
call DID now. They used to be multiple personality disorder.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
he's flips back between. He used to use different personas to sort of do the kind of Batman thing, be on the street. Like one persona, he could talk to, sort of the alley hood rat. Another persona, he could talk to sort of a billionaire, and he could talk to the Wall Street types or whatever. And eventually,
Well, there's this control. There isn't.
Eventually, they all sort of did form multiple personalities into one. So it was kind of taking the Batman idea and be like, well, this kind of person would be crazy, right?
Yes.
To do that,
Right.
You'd have to
To be able to do
nuts
that.
to do that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's sort of the genesis of that. Both of those songs kind of together.
Which two songs?
The Gunning for Masks and before that, Detective Story.
Yeah.
Sort of both. That sort of the genesis of the idea.
Yeah. The conversation is making me think about the lyric, this kills your heroes, this redeems your friends in a new way, because of the whole kind of comic book context and the deconstruction of what it means to be a hero or to be one of the masks.
Yeah, I suppose that's a clue into the dissecting the whole thing.
But killing your heroes, that comes up right near the beginning of the record.
Yeah, it's on the song.
Is there special significance to that idea in this context? The idea of...
I think it's giving you the idea, the setup of that this is based slightly on some of the ideas from Watchmen, because a lot of 80s comic books kind of did that idea. And it was self-referential, it was talking about themselves, but it was also just talking about probably society as a whole. Like we need to rethink a lot of the things that we've held true for a long time, and maybe break them down. And
The Twilight of the Idols.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which I feel like there is. That's something that potentially good thing that is happening.
And also a point of difference, like if all of a sudden your timeline shift, your whole point of view could shift. Like if people who were heroes could be not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Rorschach thing.
Yeah, or I mean, say if in 1968 something different had happened.
Yeah.
With the war, for example, and then also maybe Nixon would have been seen in a better light.
Sure.
Just like any millions of infinite possibilities of what could happen. So
absolutely, these shifts in perspectives.
The fact that people still think that like Kennedy was a hero now, which is fine, but there's a lot of gray in that. But it's like how we think of everything is
the certainty.
And it's like Kennedy did a lot of terrible things.
Yeah.
He also tried to do good things that he never really ended up doing. It's all Johnson who ended up doing, but Johnson seemed more of a villain.
It's just categorical
because
thinking.
Kennedy is dead, so your hero is dead. And
right.
So the next in line of succession is the enemy.
Yeah. It's interesting how thinking works like that. Yeah.
Well, history can, in time, really changes perspective.
Yeah. How is that being played with? So in the second half of the record, I mean, the final songs, the songs that we haven't really spoken about, This Is Illusion, we did speak about Levitate the Pentagon, which is next after that, Left No Reason, Varied Time, Circle of Gasoline, The Cancerverse, Fear, Blur, All Spelled Out, and The Watcher's Eye. Do you have a sense of what's happening on the second half of the record with all of those songs? Because it seems, are we exploring different territory? Is it looser in terms of the concepts or not?
Side 2 is Marvel Comics, sort of. Nice. Side A would be like Vertigo, DC, Watchmen. Side 2 is like, there's literally, I mean, the Cancerverse is a concept in Marvel Comics. It's a different universe where nothing ever dies. And what would happen if you just, nothing ever died? So the line is if nothing ever dies, everything becomes corrupted. And so it's much more, it's a little looser, all the concepts are sort of there, and mixed in a little bit more with the themes that Watchmen deals with sort of Vietnam and war in general, and sort of the end, nuclear war. It's kind of all tying those ideas back in. The song Circle of Gasoline, on its face, it's about the monks that set themselves on fire in protest.
Oh, sure.
During the war.
Yeah.
But there's some other things sort of involved. There was a project called, during the Vietnam War, a project called Project Wandering Souls that the CIA used. They had to be speaking people to record themselves as ghosts and saying that they won't go, because Buddhists believe that if you're not back with your people to be taken care of, your soul wanders forever. So the CIA got all these people to record saying, in Vietnamese, like, oh, you're dead, you'll never be at rest if you're killed out here,
Oh, wow.
And then they played them through delays and through echoes out in the battlefields at night to scare. Of course it didn't work, but
that was
it was one of those stupid CIA this will be great.
What a clever idea,
and it just didn't work.
What if that ghost isn't dead? It isn't dead. It's how the song ends. So that relates to what you were just talking about. Yeah. What's the significance of the repetition there? Passing through you. What if that ghost isn't dead?
So you only have so many beats in a measure, and if you don't have enough words, you repeat things.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good answer.
That's how music works.
Yeah. So time has to do with time again. Time comes up a lot in the second half of the record. In the Cancerverse, A Wound in Time, and then one of the songs is called Varied Time. Why is time becoming more of a focus? Varied Time, you cannot unburden yourself, you cannot remove the name from the wall, is how Varied Time begins, for example.
Yeah, that one is a bit more in the Watchmen. There's a line like nothing ends, nothing ever ends, and there's a line in the second song, Point of Divergence as well, which is a line that Dr. Osterman says at the end of the book. And he said he's just being sort of nihilistic or obtuse, probably. It's like the idea of, it's just a cycle that goes and goes and goes, whatever.
So that's
just sort of, but it's also about, like, there's a lot of themes to war in that. So it's sort of a war story. In there, I mean, it's talking about, like, there's some, I think I was watching the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary while writing sort of the second half, so it started to like, work its way, and I was like, oh, these themes make sense.
Yes, yeah.
Especially in context of some of the things I'm writing about So that's one you could almost kind of go down line for line and see. I think there's a line in that documentary where a guy says you're an atheist until the shooting starts.
Oh yeah. Going back to the comment in Watchmen, it's interesting then that the character who is being perceived as the person that is putting an end to the drama, the person that provides that, it's like, no, it's cyclical and there is no.
What does he say? Something about later, and they're like, what are you going to do now? And he's like, I'm about to go out and create more life.
Right.
Maybe I'll see if I can just make my own. This is terrible. You know, he has all those monologues when he's sitting on Mars. This is low. Humans suck, and I don't get any of this stuff.
That's always what I remember the most.
War and death, and like this was a person who was able to end a 20-year war or whatever Vietnam ended up being in the long run in a matter of days or hours or whatever it was in the book. And it's just like, if you can solve all of humanity's problems and humanity doesn't care, what am I even doing here?
Right. Yeah, or anyway, the goddamn atomic man in Third Blur, is that again like Dr. Manhattan? Because
sort of, or just like everybody, it's in the, what do they call it, this sort of silver age of comic books, and Dr. Manhattan I think was sort of a play on that, but it's like every character was created by some kind of atomic age. They call it the atomic age sort of comics.
Sure.
Spider-Man was created by a radioactive spider.
Oh yeah.
This book originally called Marvel Man, made in the 50s, and then rewritten to Miracle Man because there was a lot of stuff about who owned the rights and things like that. But it was also created by some sort of nuclear accident.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's a quick little punk song, but it's just about how funny it is that that's not even a worry we have anymore. But it was something you think about if it was like 1959 or something like that.
Right.
And like it's only been 10 years since we destroyed an entire continent, pretty much.
Yeah.
with this power. Yeah. How fascinating and terrifying that power would be. I think it's what's fun when there was so much work in comic books where they weren't scared of it. They seem to embrace it in a weird way.
Yeah, it becomes the Genesis narrative. It just becomes an interesting story.
Oh yeah. That's what the song's made out of. That helps us, right? Yeah. Now you can stick to walls.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to stick to walls?
Yeah.
So dates. You were just referencing some dates, and the whole chorus of This Is Illusion is different dates.
You have to look up what significantly happened in those years.
So there is a significance that you're not going to explain.
No.
But the dates are not arbitrary.
I'll explain one of them, which is 1974, which is the year I was born.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, no one will get. No one will get that one.
And we do get it's 2017. It's 2018. So that's interesting. They're the only two consecutive dates. And
the idea from that comes from Alan Moore thing. There's his sort of the Dr. Manhattan book. When they kind of explain his origin. He's sort of a non-linear being since his transformation, so he can jump through points in time and he can see.
Sure.
He lives and sees at any point in time.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go down in a lyric to go down to exact dates, and none of the dates have anything to do with the book. I just got the idea from that. Like here's and he goes to big significant things that only happened in his life, like the day he met his first love, and the day his father gave him a watch.
That's interesting.
The day he lost that watch, which is in sort of current day on Mars or something like that. Or he could say one of the current dates, 1985. I'm here on Mars. I'm seeing 1962. I'm seeing all these different times. I'm seeing but he can't seem to see the future for reasons you find out in the book, or up to a certain point of the book.
No spoilers this time.
Yeah.
It strikes me as interesting that song, This Is Illusion, the combination of it being called This Is Illusion, of the chorus being those dates, and of the opening lyric being Name and Nameless Movement. What's happening with the combination of two or three of those things?
Name and Nameless Movement is more alliteration, I suppose.
Yeah.
And like, can you do that?
Name and Nameless, it's a paradox.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, one example would be Black Lives Matter wants to be a leaderless movement, but they want to have a name and identity attached to that.
Sure.
Which is cool. I suppose you need it.
Yes.
But has there ever been a movement, sort of any kind of, particularly political movement, that hasn't had, at the time, or at least in retrospect, sort of a name attached to it. Like that's how we have to do things to
And
make history and have,
yeah.
you know, like I don't think the Enlightenment was called the Enlightenment at the time.
Sure.
You know, things like that. It's
Yeah.
like we have to
Give names to things that are nameless to make some sense of them, but immediately to
try to explain to explain history,
to control it.
Yeah.
The Watcher's Eye is the one song that we haven't spoken about at all, and it's the final song on the record. The beginning of the record is really important. You were saying, you know, we began by highlighting just sonically what's happening at the beginning, and how that, and then you was highlighting how that relates to the idea of an introduction and like the beginning of a book, and reading the record like a book.
The Watcher is a character in Marvel Comics that a big-headed alien.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're a race that watches everything throughout the universe and chronicles it, writes it all down. They're not supposed to interfere.
Just narrate.
They do because it's comic books, but the concept is that they sit and they watch and they chronicle everything. And then there's a really funny thing they do or they used to do in Marvel Comics, is they did these stories called What If, where they had the point of divergence, and they said, what if Flash Thompson, Peter Parker's schoolmate, got bitten by the spider instead? And then they tell that story. And they usually end up in doom. See, the way we wrote things, they were right the first place.
Right.
But the stories always start off with a Watcher talking to you, breaking the fourth wall, saying, now, you remember, Peter Parker was bitten by a spider. But what if? It was...
So back to the point of...
What if it was his bully?
Yeah.
So it's sort of wrapping the whole thing up.
Yeah.
In a way.
And it's interesting, that makes me think again of Dr. Manhattan saying there is no end and things that are circular.
Nothing ever ends.
We're kind of back at the beginning again. Is that the point? Is that it, part of the point? That's something that's happening in the song. Yeah, that's a thing. As I said, we began by thinking about the sonic significance of the beginning. Is there any particular reason apart from it sounds good as a close that we end with this song focusing less on the lyrics but more on the nature of the song?
It just felt nice right there.
Yeah.
I think there was the sequencing of the second half of the record, because it's not quite as, like I said, my concept should go.
Yeah. As they should, I think.
Yeah. It's like I can't hold them together that tightly, and I don't really want them to.
Yeah.
But I believe I had that sort of in other places. It was always on the second side, because that's the sort of normal side or whatever. But kind of everything was kind of mixed up, and eventually I was like, this needs to go last. It's one of the most down songs in the record. It's a slower tempo. Yeah. The vocals are the most sort of spoken. Yeah. And not screamed. Yeah. There's some melody and sort of melancholy, which I think is a good way to end a record. Yeah. Especially when you have 14 songs, which we've never done before. Yeah. It's a lot of songs.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't want to cut any of them.
Because they're a coherent set.
Yeah. And they were, it's like, I don't think I want to cut any. I can't think of any I want to cut either. And I was like, we agreed.
There we go. Nice.
Great. My concept is...
Nice when that happens.
In there.
Yeah. As is the electronic drums that there was an agreement about.
Yeah, our drummer bought a drum machine.
Yeah.
So we thought
I like it. That was a really pleasant surprise. Like when first time I played the record, like the few opening seconds don't sound like a Deleter record.
Yeah, I wanted it to be very different.
Yeah.
But the four of us, when we end up playing music, it always kind of
gravitates.
You could tell that it's Deleter.
Yeah.
So I was pushing to go. I was making us listen to a lot of like Tony Williams and Miles Davis stuff, and things like the pop group. Things that are a little bit more chaotic and crazy. Yeah. Those guys are such good musicians that they need to sort of rein it in. And I'm bad enough where I can't explain how to make it crazier than I want it to be. Yeah. So any kind of element we can sort of add in. The drum machine was cool. Yeah. With some songs I was like, maybe you just won't play the drums, just play hits and stuff.
I like it.
And then when we start going, it's like, wow, it feels just nice to have a beat going. It just brings out. So maybe the next record will be it's just a little different. As long as it's a little different, then I'm okay. I don't want it to ever sound the same.
Yeah.
I would like it to be drastic. People go, what the fuck is this? But
yeah,
it's just never going to happen with the four of us.
Yeah, well, it does for the very beginning of the record, and this is my favourite deleted record, I think. It's really good. It's really great.
It's mine too.
Nice, yeah, and hopefully as many other people's, we'll celebrate it at Mortimer's with Dosh and Self-Evident on Friday the 24th
of August.
Yeah. So come and join us at Mortimer's.